Charles, I think John Cullen is getting some of your 3 o'clock audience when you're traveling abroad. How are you tonight?
It's great to be on with you, Jason, and hi to the audience. Great poster by the art department. I mean, it really
Thank you.
is. It's each show. It's a new treasure for me to see what the art department does.
Did you ever see
If
this
it's okay,
movie,
Jason, I just
Charles?
want to bring.
Had you seen this original movie, The Distinguished Gentleman? This is The Demented Gentleman. It's similar, but different.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a stretch to call him a gentleman.
Right.
He's an avaricious fuck. Excuse my
Yeah.
language.
Yeah, avaricious is a terrible word to use on there.
Exactly. So if I could just begin, Jason, by bringing the crowd up to date with what I consider to be an amusing anecdote. I'm not going to reveal exactly where I am, other than to say I'm generally in Southeast Asia. And I was here actually both in January and in February. And I was with somebody walking along the beach where I am, right, near where I am now, at this moment. And we got to a place in the beach where there was the water was going either out from a stream or in from the ocean into the mainland. And so we thought about walking along the stream, and then we said, no. We'll go up above. There's a bridge above it, and we won't get into that stream at all, because who knows what's in that stream. And then we walked the length of the beach and back quite a distance. Yesterday, when I got here, I was in on the road, and I was walking over that bridge, a different portion of the bridge, and I looked down, and I saw a 6-foot alligator. And I
Whoa.
said to myself, holy shit, there are alligators here. So then I don't know if it's an alligator or a crocodile or what
Yeah,
it
I was
is,
going to
but it looks
ask, how
like an
can you
alligator.
tell the difference? I'm not sure.
I asked it.
Doesn't
I
matter,
learned the
really.
language, and I speak animal. But anyway,
Yeah.
so then last night I'm having dinner at the beach bar, and I'm talking, and the waiter's very nice, and we're back and forth, and I tell him that story, and he said, "Sir, that's nothing. That alligator that you're describing, where you check in at the hotel, when you checked in the other day, that alligator had just walked, somehow onto the property, and the reception staff saw it, and they were
Wow.
so frightened that they jumped up. These women jumped up on the table in the
Uh-huh.
reception area, which is where I checked in."
Wow. It's a reasonable thing to be frightened of. So what did they do? I mean, are they getting rid of it?
Evidently not. I mean,
Oh.
it's an alligator. You just I. But anyway, so it's not actually. It sounds pretty wild, but it's very civilized where I am. It's just there are alligators, and you know
Well, here you go,
there's other
Charles.
wildlife.
The differences are obvious. So if you see either of these, what's the
Yeah,
difference?
it just either mouth could do serious
Yeah.
damage to either one of my feet. So I'm
I think
grateful I still have
snout
both.
and tail length and things like that are different, and probably they live in different parts of the world, but it seems remarkably similar to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Good thing you didn't
exactly.
get eaten by that.
Yeah. And in other news, I think it's now today's, I believe, I don't know what time of day Ramadan starts, but I think it
Oh, yeah.
starts today. And I remember Joe Bite Me, before the State of the Union, was promising everybody that, he was confidently stated, this man of experience in foreign policy, former chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. It's always a brilliant idea to have the nation's top secrets in what remains of your head, and then to blurt out that his national security team had assured him that he would have a peace deal freeing the hostages a week ago. And I don't think that peace deal happened, and
Yeah.
which means now that we're in Ramadan, where Israel may well, I don't know if they're going to pause what they're doing in Gaza during Ramadan, but they may well now be forced to continue during Ramadan.
What about this port that they're building for the Gaza, an emergency port?
Yeah, what could possibly, I mean, what's going on, my understanding of what's going on now, the best way to think it through is to just, we'll get back to Gaza, but is to talk about what's going on in Haiti now. Remember,
Oh
the
yeah.
UN has basically been running Haiti since 2010. 14 years later, criminal gangs are now in charge of Haiti.
In charge of
Okay?
barbecuing people in the street. There's videos on Twitter of a guy. I don't know if I should show this, Charles. It's a little disgusting.
Don't.
The guy
Don't.
is barbecuing a dude and eating him. How has anything I've ever put on Twitter gotten kicked off if you can show human barbecue?
Right. But, Bill Clinton cannot say that he can't go around, as he has done for 14 years, taking credit for his operations in Haiti via the Clinton Foundation and via other special purpose fake charities, including a commission sponsored by the UN that has never actually been audited, through which 10 to 14 billion dollars have gone. And having spent that amount of money, an amount greater than the gross domestic product of Haiti in 2010, 14 years later, the legacy of the UN is what you have in Haiti. Criminal gangs barbecuing their opponents. There's going to be, all the shit that the Clintons said they were going to do in Haiti, bringing factories to Haiti, creating hotels. There's not going to be
None of that.
that hotel that was built. It will be burned to the ground. And may I remind everybody that one of the families that has benefited from the looting of Haiti is none other than Claudine and Gay's family, former president of Harvard, who was forced to resign, to turn down her presidency over the plagiarism scandal. Her family looted Haiti, among other families.
Not the barbecue.
Yeah,
they're not involved in the barbecue, as far as we know.
How do we know? We don't know that. I mean, well, seriously, you don't know. I mean, she's got an extended family, and we don't know. It's possible that one or more members of her extended family is paying off these criminal gangs or even leading the criminal gangs. We do not know. But we do know her family runs the concrete business in Haiti, without which you can't build anything significant.
Ooh. Charles, they evacuated the U.S. Embassy. I didn't know that. This is 3 hours ago. Gang violence.
Yeah, I'm saying. So the team, this is, the Bill Clinton and Tony Blair and all the people who financed the reconstruction of Haiti. These are the same people who are now telling us what to do with respect to Gaza and indeed with respect to the United States. How long will it be before criminal gangs are barbecuing their opponents in the U.S.?
I think next week that's scheduled.
Well, actually, yesterday, I was just watching something on Twitter where a vicious throng of people out somewhere in Los Angeles area took, I think it's like an $80,000 Jeep. And then, with the crowds yelling and screaming and people taking photographs, so they doused it in gasoline. And then somebody did a 360 as the thing was, in a car, screeching, burning rubber around the thing. The crowd was yelling and screaming and enjoying this shit. What's the mayor of that town? What the hell is going on in that town?
Wow, that is wild. I hadn't seen that video, but here, is this it?
That's not it.
Whoa,
that's a different one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a black Jeep, this one.
That's from 2 months ago, this here. Let me see if I can find it. They usually call those things the street takeover, right? Fire engulfs car during street takeover.
It's a Jeep. It's a Jeep Wrangler, four-door Wrangler, black four-door Wrangler. But, there needs to be, there's always a ringleader for this kind of stuff. And there'll be a ringleader, and you'll see the guy, with a big red canister of gasoline, plastic canister, pouring it first in the interior of the Jeep, and then they pop the trunk and they pour it in the engine. And then somebody tosses, flame on it. I've seen cars implode not from that. On 55th Street between Park and Lexington, right underneath our office building, when I was there, we just noticed smoke, and in like a minute, the taxi was gone. But anyway,
I meant to tell you, they said that the theft of Camaros is up like 14,000% because somebody invented some hacking tool that can open it right up. And they're just stealing Camaros like crazy and using them for exactly what you're talking about.
Right, but so my point to you would be that the ringleaders of this need to be hunted down. hunted down, paraded in front of the public, and sent to prison for the rest of their lives with no possibility of parole. There needs to be open season on these people. And this idea that you've got district attorneys focused on who they can pay off to get go on expensive vacations while they prosecute the former president, and this kind of fucking mayhem going on in our major cities. Then you have the bozo in chief getting in front of people, on Adderall or whatever he was on, lying like a maniac, speaking like a maniac about how things are better under his presidency than they were under the former one. I mean, we need to have our heads examined.
Well, I want to go to that, Charles, but before we move off of Haiti, I just have to ask you about this, because I just heard about this the other day. There are a bunch of trials. Remember, the Haitian president was assassinated, and it's now come out in trial. There was a trial in Miami and a separate trial in Haiti, but they're saying that the guy's own wife, the prime minister, and the police chief were all part of this, and somebody was indicted in Miami. We really haven't heard enough about what went on with this assassination of the Haitian president, and now there's mayhem there.
Well, yeah, in Haiti, as I've said in the past, and we've done numerous, lengthy presentations that are somehow on the internet somewhere. But the situation in Haiti, before another American know-nothing politician gets up and starts talking about how America has to do this in country A or country B or country C. If there's a country in the world that should be in decent shape today, it's Haiti.
Oh, well,
Haiti is a small country. Well, before we get to America, if we have, let's say we have a budget for foreign policy. I don't think at this point we should, but let's say we did. Colin Powell famously said about Iraq, you break it, you own it, and you have to fix it. And in Haiti, not only did the French fuck it up when it was a colony, and then what they did was atrocious. Haiti was a portion of an island that used to have a lot of forests, and what the French did, they and other foreigners clear cut the forest.
Why?
Now, when you do that on a steep slope, what happens in a rainy climate like Haiti is that the topsoil washes away off the hills. And once washed away, it doesn't come back. So they permanently alter the ecosystem of this island.
Why?
Before the disaster in 2010. So just for what happened before 2010, I think if we're going to talk about needy countries around the world where we should do something, Haiti is very much at the top of the list in my mind because it's a near neighbor. And that's before what we get to Bill Clinton's rape of that country. What he did, the second an earthquake happens, the second a tragedy strikes, you can count on the Clinton family and other ghoulish political dynasties to raise their fat hands and say that only they can funnel the aid money to help the vulnerable here. Well, let's have a real accounting for what happened in Haiti from 2010 forward. Okay. And before Bill Clinton, puts on that kente cloth and dances around pretending he's Nelson Mandela again with the next African earthquake or tragedy, people have to account for what happened in Haiti. And it's outright theft. It's theft of the aid flows. There needs to be an accounting. I don't care that it's as far back as 2010. And Sean fucking Penn has a charity that went into Haiti that is a complete disaster. He did it with, it's not called the Sean Penn Foundation. It's like JPA Foundation. I forget the name what it is. But he went into Haiti, and his foundation is a crooked piece of shit as well. So the actors and celebrities and other people who went in and covered themselves in glory, virtue signaling over Haiti, they need to stand up. They need to be targeted. They need to be prosecuted, and they need to atone for their sins.
Look at this, Charles. This is 2011 from CNN telling us how 2 years after the 7.0 magnitude earthquake leveled Haiti's capital, President Clinton's charitable foundation is going to add new lodging for aid workers to Port-au-Prince, $45,000 Marriott hotels. That's not a hotel for aid workers. That's Marriott taking advantage of getting the land for next to nothing. I'm beginning to think Marriott might be a deep state piece of shit also.
Well, Who knows? Could be. But what I would say to you though is that on this one in 2011, this is just when, if you may remember, the Simpson Thacher Bartlett, the law firm, was hired in theory to do a 10-year retrospective on the Clinton Foundation in 2011, in October of 2011. We've covered this before. So just when they're taking credit for their work in Haiti, in fact, the Clinton Foundation had no bylaws, no operative bylaws. Its articles of incorporation were fundamentally flawed. It had no valid audits from inception on October 23rd to 1997. So I would say it didn't exist legally or lawfully, and the IRS should have shut it down way before 2011. That's the main one. So if the main foundation didn't exist lawfully, all the work that was done by the main foundation, in theory, to raise money for the Clinton Bush Haiti, whatever it is, Bush Clinton or Clinton Bush Haiti Foundation, that's the entity, you may recall, that sent $37.3 million from memory into a post office box. The main foundation sent it to a post office box in Baltimore. So this is something, and there shouldn't be a statute of limitations issue here, because this thing did not file lawful tax returns.
I just wonder, Charles, they got a helipad right next to this Marriott. Is this the CIA just like taking over? Now look at this. We've also got restrictions as far as where we can get street view, and it doesn't want to give you a street view of the hotel. This is very interesting.
Well, yeah, and one of the things is in 16, when I was doing all that work with Dottie Cherry, who is this fake name of somebody who's a medical doctor, Haitian, obviously, was with really passionate views about what had been going on in Haiti. Because of her prominence, she wrote several articles about what I had seen. I came to the attention of the leaders of these Haitian demonstrations, some of whom are cited in various news sources continually. And they invited me to various rallies in New York, outside the Clinton Foundation, outside the New York City office of the state attorney general. And these are people from Haiti who are really furious at the Clintons. When I say furious, many of them have these booming voices. And they're, where are the billions? You're a murderer. Get down on the street and answer our questions, Bill Clinton.
They never will.
Really furious. And these passions are now only going to get more furious against the UN and against the status quo. Where the UN goes, people get raped. Yeah. That's the lesson of Rwanda. That will be the lesson in Gaza. The UN is an odious organization. It needs to be shut the fuck down.
Yeah.
It needs to be evicted from New York City and New York State. There are opulent retreats around the world. History. If Marriott's making money off those opulent retreats, well, then short the stock. Because, in a new administration, I hope the U.S. says, hasta la vista, baby. We're out of the UN. We are no longer going to fund it. We're not going to participate in this criminal organization that is burning money and presiding over the looting of countries. We're not doing it.
So we got to switch now, Charles, to the state of the onion. Basically, Joe Biden. Now, I don't know anything about what Adderall does or how it makes you act. I mean, we see him unable to speak for 5 seconds at a time, and yet somehow he's able to stand there and yell for an hour. So what happened?
Well, see, what happened is that the world got a chance to peek behind the curtain of how the mainstream media operates. So the way the mainstream media operates, in my view, well, I know a little bit about it, having been on some broadcasts. Every morning, the producers of all the shows get together at the mainstream operations, and they and some of them do this in the evening as well. But in the morning, they sit down. They say, "All right, what are we going to push out today? In what order?" Because every show has an A block and a B block and a C block, and they can think through which should go first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And they got together, much as I think they did when they knew that they were going to rig the 2022 election, as well as the 2020 election. They got together and they said, all right, everybody says Joe Biden's a demented nitwit. We've got a plan So the base is going to be pretty low. People are going to be worrying, how many times does he fall off the podium?
Yeah.
So if we can put together an energetic Biden, we can then immediately get all of the reliable assholes who unfortunately are still employed at the mainstream media to sell the same story. See, the conspiracy theorists who say that Joe Biden is too old to perform his duties, they don't know what they're talking about. Actually, his age is a virtue. That means he's, by definition, got more wisdom. That's what they were trying to sell. And what they failed to appreciate is that you can't put him on Adderall 24/7. So yes, that night he didn't fall flat on his face, but the next day he did, and the day after that he did. And
did he
so
fall
long as he's
physically?
not on Adderall, well, no, he was ridiculous.
He said, "Send me to Congress" or something, right?
Yes, that's why you need to send me back to Congress. He bemoaned the dread and tragic insurrection on July 6th. It wasn't an insurrection, and it didn't happen on July 6th for sure. I mean, he is not. And let's not forget that Robert Hur, the special counsel, said that yes, he committed criminal acts with his classified materials, but no, we're not going to put him before a jury because he's a doddering old fool. So you can't have it both ways.
Look at this. People in the comments, I mean, it's so apparent. Look at how red his hands are. What the hell's going on with his hands?
That's what happens when your blood circulation changes.
Whoa, that red? I mean, it looks like he's going to explode.
It looks like rare roast beef. Now I can't have rare roast beef again for the rest of my life.
Well,
but, no, I mean, and it would take 3 shows to go through all his lies. Then maybe we'll do some of that in the First Amendment Freedom Forum. But the thing of it is, this guy, on the things that matter, your personal safety, the security of your private sector job, the stability of the nation's finances, the civilized or uncivilized nature of our country, our foreign adventures and misadventures that are tragically hurting so many people. On those key issues and others, the man displayed that he has a rancid brain. He does not know what he's just fed talking points. He can still read, apparently, but he has no understanding what's truly going on around him, nor do the people in corporate-owned media, because if they had to admit how wrong they were, most of them would be fired with extreme prejudice. And that's what's going to happen, I think, to incumbents if we have an election that can't be rigged this coming November.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's happening while you were gone, Charles, is that Kathy Hochul has put the National Guard into the subway.
I mean, you can't fix stupid. You can't go and say, as the state, leader of the state and the leader of the city, after people are promoting sanctuaries, saying sanctuary cities don't make sense. You can't say that no matter what the federal government does, New York City and New York State will always be a sanctuary city, and think that the billions of people, there are 6.5 billion people approximately who are poor out of 8, right? Those 6.5 billion, they don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about a regulation. They don't care about a law. They care about the fact that they're eating dirt sandwiches. They don't know where to find clean water, and they've got years ahead of them, in theory, to live. And if somebody extends a lifeline to them, whether it's criminal or lawful, a significant percentage of those 6.5 billion are going to come streaming across our southern border when knuckleheads like President Fuckface, I'm actually pretty irritated at him, as I think you could tell, and these other people all cheer on and say, oh, yeah, we welcome you. Come right in. If you're a criminal, fantastic. We're going to give you $10,000. You don't get to be that criminally insane, hold these offices, and think that history is going to be kind to you. If you're not prosecuted, history is going to shred these people as being ass clowns, criminal ass clowns.
Yeah. Now look at this. So it says, so this is this Joint Task Force Empire Shield. We don't really know a lot about these task forces, and it seems to be universal language for decimating the constitutional protections that normally kept local police, federal police and military separate. So they're basically saying in March of 2024, the field of operation was extended to the subway to assist the MTA police and the NYPD. So this is a task force with personnel drawn from the New York Army National Guard, New York Air National Guard, New York Navy Militia. But it doesn't really tell us the full extent. Anytime I see task force, I have to presume that the FBI is coordinating this, or at least the DHS in some way. It does say it was brought about after 9/11. So I think whenever anybody hears task force, they should be on alert, or at least consider that this is a violation of our rights and a misappropriation of law enforcement resources. But Charles, we're at that moment where we're going to make our way over to the First Amendment Forum, and people can join us there.
Great.
We're going to have a more in-depth conversation. I want to hear all of your thoughts about stupid Joe Biden, the demented gentleman and his stupid speech. But people can join us on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, or subscribestar.com, or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Stay with us, everybody. We've got a lot to talk about.